Good afternoon, everybody. David Shuster here on Take Action News, We Act Radio's own, produced in Washington, D.C. with the help of our executive producer, Daniel Marins. Hello, Daniel, and also Mitch Mulaski, our vice president in charge of engineering. Welcome to you both. Welcome to everybody who's watching us on our YouTube channel, Take Action News TV, or our live stream on weactradio.com, takeactionnews.com, or listening to us over one of our many syndicated radio stations. What a week for everybody who is petitioning the White House. The White House has now responded to one of the more amusing and humorous petitions that they have received. Keep in mind, the White House set up this We the People site where if you get 25,000 signatures for your cause, the White House will officially respond. Well, there were 36,000 requests that the White House respond to the secure resources and funding and begin construction of a Death Star by 2016. Paul Shawcross, who is the Chief of Science and Space Branch at the White House Office of Management and Budget, responded. He said, "The administration shares your desire for job creation and a strong national defense, but a Death Star isn't on the horizon. Here are a few reasons." He says the construction of the Death Star has been estimated, and he links to Lehigh University study, to cost more than $850 quadrillion. He says we're working hard to reduce the deficit, not expand it. He says the administration does not support blowing up planets. And he says, why would we spend countless taxpayer dollars on a Death Star with a fundamental flaw that can be exploited by a one-man starship? He closes the White House reaction by saying, he talks about the opportunities with NASA and pursuing a career in science and technology, and he says, if you do pursue a career in science, technology, engineering, or math-related field, the Force will be with us. Remember, the Death Star's power to destroy a planet or even a whole star system is insignificant next to the power of the Force. Bravo. Daniel Marins, your reaction?
I'm pleased to see that the White House is engaging the American citizens in such a with a sense of humor. I think it's easy to completely dismiss these petitions, and I think it's kind of refreshing, actually.
I agree. Mitch Mulaski, I want to get your reaction to another one related to outer space. And this Phil Larson, we're going to have to get him on the show because he's quite the guy over at the White House. There was a petition that got more than 25,000 signatures, which wanted the White House to formally acknowledge an extraterrestrial presence engaging the human race. And so Phil wrote, thank you for signing the petition asking the Obama administration to acknowledge an extraterrestrial presence here on Earth. The U.S. government has no evidence that any life exists outside our planet or that an extraterrestrial presence has contacted or engaged any member of the human race. In addition, there's no credible information to suggest that any evidence is being hidden from the public's eye. However, that doesn't mean the subject of life outside our planet isn't being discussed or explored. In fact, there are a number of projects working towards the goal of understanding if life can or does exist off of Earth, and he goes through various examples. Mitch Mulaski, what do you think about the official White House response to this petition?
Well, it's definitely very, very professional, but yeah, I think it takes a little hubris to demand that we recognize extraterrestrials without any proof that we actually have extraterrestrials. I mean, you can assume or you can say sort of different things, but just to go ahead and say, oh, we demand to say they're extraterrestrials when they don't exist, that seems to be a little gutsy. But actually, going back to the Death Star, I think I mentioned this a couple weeks ago. There is a plan to ensnarl an asteroid and turn that into a base for launching to Mars and for other stuff. So I don't know if we're quite creating a Death Star, but we are somewhat already on our way to creating some sort of base outside of this Earth and Moon.
Well, I think it's great that people are. Go ahead, Danny. I was cutting you off there.
I was just going to say that it's really just a shame that when we have these petitions to the White House about the Death Star and recognizing extraterrestrial activity, that Newt Gingrich is not our president, because that guy would take it seriously, and he would talk about establishing colonies. I mean, what role would the Death Star play in Newt Gingrich's plan to establish colonies on the moon?
I have a feeling that Newt Gingrich, if he were president, instead of having Phil Larson respond to these, he would respond himself. I think we would get full-blown news conferences from Newt Gingrich talking about his moon colonies and what he knows about whatever government secrets may have been kept over the years.
We'd have a lecture series set up already for the next weekend of talking about his plan. He might that plan.
And you know what, Newt? Now that you're out of government, and this is just free business and political advice from us at Take Action News, I recommend becoming a historian of the Death Star for, I don't know, $500,000 a year. That seems like a normal consulting fee that you could ask as a historian for the Death Star. and that historian might be able to do some advocacy, just like you did advocacy through historian-like studies for Fannie and Freddie. That was purely historian-like, and that would be totally fine. You wouldn't have sort of the smear of being a lobbyist. I think that would be truly a public service. In fact, I don't think Newt Gingrich, that needs to be Newt's legacy.
I'm with you, Daniel Marans. Bravo. I'm with you. Daniel Marans, I think that would be a great legacy for Newt. We're going to pause in about 20 seconds, let our syndicated stations catch up with us. Great show coming up. We're going to get a little more serious, talk a little bit about the issue of gun control, what's happening with the effort by Joe Biden and the Obama administration. You're listening and watching to We Act Radio's Take Action News, broadcasting live on this Saturday, also tape delay via our YouTube channel.